Hey YouTube, this is Prince from Desi Programmer. Welcome back to another exciting video. And in this video, we're going to talk about a couple of Dart topics that give most of you problem when you're writing code in Flutter. So in this video, I'm going to cover a couple of topics which will make your coding experience with Flutter a lot better. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is string interpolation. So simply, let's say that I created a string, let's say it's a name, and I don't give it any value. Now if I try to print that value using the print statement, and if I save this, and if I just go here, if I type Dart and then my file name, then I'll basically get null. But in Flutter, this string, if you try to do something in this way, then you will get an error which says that hey, a text visit can't contain any null string. Now by the way, if you're wondering how I'm writing Dart code on my commander, it's very simple. Whenever you install Flutter, Dart2 gets installed as well as added to your path. So all that you have to do is to create a file that ends with .dart extension and then use dart space that file name and it will be executed. Anyway, moving forward. So here there's a giant concept of a string interpolation that will be very useful while you're working with Flutter. So let's see what that is. Basically what that says is that we can use a single quotes or you can use double quotes, and then you can simply use a $sign and then that variable name. So now even if this is empty, basically even if that is empty, Flutter won't give you an error. But string interpolation is not just about that. String interpolation is actually getting a final string by evaluating a lot of expressions. Now what that means is that let's say I have a string name and I have a boolean that gives me a status, right? It gives me a status of whether I'm online or I'm offline by sending me simple true or false. Now to print whether, let's say, whatever the name is provided is online or is offline, you might have to do an if else check. What string interpolation does is that it can do the same thing inside a single expression. Now to do that, let's say first I assign any value to my name. Let's say Prince. So now if I write $name is $status, the obvious answer I'm going to get is that hey, Prince is true, right? But I don't want to show true, I want to show true or false. Sorry, I want to show online or offline. So to do that, what I can do is that here after this $sign, I can put a flower bracket. Now this flower bracket can contain any expression, like literally I can write here 12 plus 13. Now what Dart does is that it will basically evaluate that expression and will convert that to a string internally. But what I want to do right here is to do a tertiary operator check. So for that, all that I will do is that I will check if the status, what is the present status. So if that is true, all that I have to do is that I have to say online. And if that is false, then all that I have to do is that I have to show offline. Right now, let me just save this, and here when I run this again, you will get error because I have to end this with quotes. And now let me just save this. Let's run this again, and now it gives Prince is online. So if I just change this to false, I basically get Prince is offline. So this is how you can use a string interpolation to do a lot of calculation within a string and then get a result out of it. And also if you use something like this, then Flutter text visit won't give you an issue, and not just and since for titles and most of the childs are text visit, so this will save you a lot of errors. The next thing that I want to talk about is Flutter's maps list, and some of you were having issues with that too. Now for example, a very simple way of creating a list is that I say a list, then I say an X, and I put some values in the list. Let's say 12 and Prince. We all know that Dart supports both dynamic and static type languages. So if I create a list like that, Dart obviously won't have any issue, right? It doesn't say that hey, your list has to be an heterogeneous connection of data, sorry, homogeneous connection of data. But list can also be generic, so basically they can have a typecasting. If I say that I'm going to create a list of type integer only, so now this will give me an error. Now this gives me that hey, Prince is not an integer. So this is something that you have to understand that whenever you're working with any Flutter or Dart or anything as such, and let's say that there is some explicit declaration of the list or map, then you have to create it in the same way. A very simple example is that in a drop down menu, the item should be a list of drop down menu items. So there, if you want to create a list, you have to do something like a list of drop down menu item, and if you don't do that, then obviously you're going to get some error. And not just list, even maps can do such things. So for example, let's say I create a map, I say this is my map and this contains some value. Okay, so I have a key 1 and this contains a value, let's say value 1. The next key that I have is an integer, that's 2, and basically that contains value 2. Right now this map will have no issue with me. I'm not printing anything because right now you know that even if you don't print anything, if this code executes without any error, that particularly means that my map is correct, right? So if I just run this code, you will see that hey, I don't get any error, which means my code is correct. But what if I say that my map, which contains here a key value pair, so I'm saying that my key should only be a string and my value should also be a string. Now when I run this, obviously I'm going to get an error because 2 is not a string. I can do things like, hey, this key can be an integer or should be an integer. Okay, not a can be, it should be an integer, and the value should be a string. Now here when I run this, obviously I will get an error because now key 1 is not a string. I can do something like, hey, my key can be dynamic and the value has to be string, and now when I run this has no error. So the complete point here is that whenever you are working with any widget or anything, and if you see that hey, this explicits that the map has to contain the key value pair of this particular data type, make sure that you do that in this way, because if you don't, then obviously you're going to get an error. The next thing that most people question is the list, to map, getting the values of the map and all. So basically what is it that, let's say first we'll talk about to set. So let's say I create a list of some numbers, right? Now this list or number contains number. I have 12, I have 12, I have 14, I have 13, I have 14, I have 14, 143, right? I save this and I'm simply printing all these numbers. Now when I print this, basically if I clear and when I print this, I get this complete list. Now what a map does is, now what a set does is that if I say to set, what this will do is that this will just eradicate all the duplicates out of the list. So I have 2 12s, but I will get a single 12. I have 2 13s, so I will get a single 13. I will get a 14, I get a 143. This is a basic math concept, because sets in math can't have duplicate values, which is what happens here. Now this is something very easy and is not used most. What's used most is that, let's say I do some API request. Now that API gives me a map of some values. Okay, let's say this is a response and this response is a map, and this map has some particular value. Let's say it contains a key, that's let's say ID, and then it contains a value, that's the name. So basically let's say it contains 3 name. I'll simply say prints 2 and prints 3, right? And the keys are 1 2 3. Let me just save this, and now I'm saying that let's print the response, and when we run the code we get error that says I need a comma here, I need a comma here too, right? Okay, when I run this code I get the complete map. Now most of the time when you get a response like this, you might not have to work with the keys, or you might not want to work with the values. And also let's say you want to use a list view builder. Now a best thing about if you want to use a list view builder, if you just have a simple list out of the data, you can simply use the length of the list, that will be the item length, and you can just build it. Now to do that, most of the time what we do is that we have to convert this into a list. Now the good thing here is that if I just do response dot keys, we get an iterable keys, which means if I run this, now see we have a key iterable. If I do value, I get an iterable of values. So here I have an iterable of values, which is prints 2 prints 3. We make it more better by simply calling a toList method, and what that does is that this creates a list out of all the values of my map. So this map of response contains 3 names, and now I have a list of 3 names. I can simply use it in any list view builder, and this will be pretty simple. Now the last thing that I'm going to talk about, which is obviously the most important one, that's asynchronous operation, right? I'll first write some data over here. Now here, let me first clear this. Let me first use .test.dart, and here I get 3 print statements. I have insert URL, call an API and get result from the API. Basically all I want to say is that prepare any URL, then call the URL to get the result, and then call the API and then get the result from the API. Now what asynchronous programming does is that when you do this, like inserting a URL can be instant, but getting result from a URL can't be instant. It might take some time. So if we make this asynchronous, what Dart does is that it doesn't wait for this particular operation to complete, it immediately moves to the next one, right? Which is completely okay, but the issue arises when the next operation is dependent on the previous one. So you can't get result from the API until unless the API call is complete. Now in Dart in Flutter we have future builder, stream builder, and what they do is that they help us with this. But normally you won't be dependent on a single future. You might have multiple APIs, you might have an APIs within APIs and doing things as such, and for that you need a good grasp or understanding of asynchronous programming. Now what that is, let's say here I have a function. Okay, I will simply have a void function. I'll call this as a API handler. What API handler does is that it basically handles an API, and this will simply print call an API. I will save this, and now I'll just get rid of this statement. I'll save it, and here I'm calling this particular API handler, right? Even if I run this again, I'll get the same thing. It's not a big issue. What I'm going to do next is that I'm going to actually give this some time, right? I'm going to call a future dot delayed, and what future dot delayed is going to do that I'm saying that for, let's say, 3 seconds, don't give any result, right? And only after 3 seconds I have to print, let's say, this particular jet. I have to do this, right? I will save this. Let's run this again. So I get all of these 3 results, and now I'm waiting for this to basically complete. So although I do something like this here, when I'm printing, this is still not an asynchronous operation. Now to make this an asynchronous function, I have to first use the keyword async, and then I have to say await. And now if I save this, let's run this again. So now we get insert URL, get result from API, and then call an API. Well, this is how normally happens, right? We create a function that's an asynchronous, we wait for the HTTP to give a result, and then we want to process the API, which is okay. But the issue, as you can see, let's do it again. When you will run your code, you will say insert the URL, get result from the API, but you are basically not calling the API. You're not waiting for API to complete itself, right? That's an issue. So for that, all that we have to do is that we have to handle it in a better way. If I do, now there are 2 simple things that we can do. One is when completed, and the second one is then. So if I just say API handler dot when completed, then this will give me a result. Now for that, I should say that this has a return type of future. And the next thing that I want to do is that I have to import a couple of things. So I have to import dart colon async. And here I'm saying the API handler dot when completed. So when this process is completed, I'm saying then print this value. I'll just save this. Let's run this again. And when we do, we get insert URL. Now we are waiting. We are saying call an API, and then I'm saying get result from an API. So now this looks pretty handy, right? This makes sense. I'm inserting an URL. I'm not getting result from the API. I'm not processing the API result. I'm just waiting for the API to complete itself. And then I am actually getting result from the API, and then I'm processing it. This is how you should actually handle all the asynchronous calls. And so first you have to wait for that to complete itself, and then only then you can use the data to process or do anything as such. Now there is another method that's then, and the difference between when completed and then I won't go into deeper. But first thing is that when completed will basically execute its code even when this gives an error, and then won't execute its code even when you get an error. But actually you can use an on error. You can catch error in then too, and then you can give the errors. But where you will mostly use that is when completed is used normally when you don't have to return any value from this function. So I just want this to complete, but I don't want to return, but this is not returning me any value. And dot then is used when you are waiting for this to return any value. So let's say right here is that it waits for 3 seconds, and then let's say it returns an age, right? So here I'm saying in future this is going to return an integer, and here after 3 seconds, after waiting for 3 seconds, it's saying that I'm going to return a future value. So I'm going to return future dot value, and that value is basically, let's say 18, right? I will save this. So here I can say then, and this then will have a value. Basically you can give it anything, and now here I can print that particular value. So I'll just save this, and let's just run the code again. We get insert URL, we wait for some time, and then we say 18, and since we are simply printing the value, there is nothing else to do, so this is not an issue. And now you can just code a lot more. Let's say here after printing the value you want to call another API, and that API will again give some value. So you can just call another API, then there will be another function depending on this particular function's asynchronous call. So this will create a ladder. A simple extract of the video is that you have to learn a bit about string interpolation so that you don't get errors like the text can't have a null string, and also you don't have to use multiple variables to do processing. The other thing is that list, maps and all, you have to know a couple of functions which convert list to map, maps to list and all. And then the third thing is that you have to get your hands better with asynchronous programming, because I see most people get issues with that. They don't understand, like they don't do this check whether this is completed or not, and they're like, hey, I'm getting error, why I'm not getting the value out of my APIs and all. So this you have to do. Anyway, that's pretty much it from my side in this video. I'll talk to you in next video talking more about coding, Flutter and whatnot.